Alecks, how are you feeling right now?
Yeah, absolutely delighted. Boys play really, really well, so nothing much to say about it. Just really happy.
Why did you play so well today? What was the difference between the two teams?
We try to play every game the same, Like we try not to take the result because it can be overwhelming, right? Like there's a lot of pressure on everyone when it comes to this stage of the tournament, and everyone's really, really good, right? So I mean, we took the boys out in the middle of the day. We had lunch, get some ice cream, chill. Then after that, I did some research. We spoke about game plans. And we went to rest, and we came in. We didn't start too hot, but I think they got into it. Like I think if my boys are playing like pretty calm and happy, making jokes, they usually end up playing like pretty well in general.
Yeah, you mentioned it there a bit about map one. Obviously, it was a 9-3 at the half. How did you help the team get back into the game?
I thought that we started a little bit like on the edge, like I think they were thinking about winning a little bit, or at least we couldn't get the game plan right. We probably got it wrong, I paused and we couldn't get we still couldn't get like rounds together. And when you switch sides, I mean, it's a different half, right? We're probably the most aggressive team, I think, in the world right now. If we get a roll, if we go on a good run, sometimes we can like snowball, and I think that's what happened. I think every time maybe G2 paused, we managed to get like lucky reads, and good reads, and we stacked the right bomb sites, pushed in the right areas, got the crucial kills, and that's what happened.
You also mentioned it there a bit about the team joking and making sure that they can get themselves in a nice relaxed mentality and that helping you out. How much importance does Benkai have in that? Because he's obviously making quite a splash with his walk-ons.
I guess it puts us in a very positive mood from the get-go. But in the end, the whole team are a bunch of clowns, They have good chemistry. All of them like in the game, they all have the same mindset. They are positive, very, very positive people, and they like to crack jokes. They don't really make fun of each other. I mean, they just talk a lot of trash, I think the whole team, especially Davai, like really helped to bring up the mood. Yeah, it's super important for us. Because if we start with like a very like poor mindset, like sometimes we're a bit negative. And I try to quash that as fast as possible, but it happens. And then it kind of like we kind of play bad after that. So we've sort of learned our lesson along the way.
You mentioned it, great performances across the board. There's a couple of players I want to pick out. First of which is Jinggg, who's kind of been one of the breakout stars of this tournament. He's a guy who's newer to the team than everyone else. Why is he so good, and how is the team helping him to reach this such a high level?
He's always been like, even in Singapore, we came to Valorant a little bit later than he did. We started Valorant like last year, March. By the time we played, we already knew that this Jinggg kid was a super amazing already. He was giving us trouble in SGMY. We have never beaten his team. It was a no-brainer pickup for us, right? It was just the most talented player we could find in Singapore at the point in time when Shiba had to go to the army. So I might have the best supporting trio in the whole of Asia for Jinggg and Forsaken, because I think Benkai, mindfreak, Davai, their timings with all the utility is really, really on point. So it helps them get aggressive kills. And because the Forsaken and Jinggg have mechanical skill, right, it accentuates our playstyle.
And Forsaken as well, I mean, 54 kills in 2 maps is pretty incredible. How do you help him to get into that sort of level? What have you done to make sure that he's able to perform at such a high level?
Honestly, your kid's really, really talented. I mean, I think it's very hard to find someone that's so young yet has no ego, So it's very easy to like talk to him, explain to him, watch demos with him, discuss, like how we should like think, play. And he brings a lot of ideas. I try my best to keep the team as creative as possible. It's my own personal philosophy that this game is played with a bit more creativity than like CSGO, for example, where you can actually master situations, and every single situation you can, like, you have seen it 1,000 times. Whereas in Valorant, it keeps changing, right? Meta changes. I try to take a little bit inspiration from MOBAs, where meta always changes. And I think the teams that work hard at being creative, being like different, have a slight edge, and maybe we're showing that today. As for Forsaken, I think because he is also one of the most creative players in the team, like we try everything, like when we go into scrim, I try to like, I'm more like I lead discussions, what I mean? We go inside, we discuss, we try certain stuff. Maybe Benkai would say like, okay, no, we ain't doing this, it's not going to work for us. Or I would say that, or we would try, I try to keep a very positive mindset or outlook on these kind of things. Instead of saying no, I always say, why not? Right. And I think that helped Jason like push the limits, because if he went to any other team, he might just be playing Jet all the way,
Is that the philosophy behind the Euro pick? Like, what sort of tools does that bring to the game, and why is he so effective on that agent in particular?
Well, first of all, I think everyone just shuts it down straight away, right? It's not that it's a bad agent. It's just unique in a very different way. We tried it out with the old Euro, because they had like 2, I don't know what it's called, but they have footsteps, right? And we found out you could break trap, you could break alarm boards, you could break boom boards with them. So like we put it as part of our game, and we shelved it because it wasn't as effective as other agents at the point in time, but we definitely tried it out. So when Euro buffs came, we were like, okay, look, it's a lot better now. Let's give it another try, right? And we liked the gameplay, what it brought to the team, right? We just had to figure out how we want to play with no Sentinel. We had to like try a lot of things. You might be surprised for the rest of the world, but I think all our screen partners in Asia know if you play us on Bind, we're going to try shit on Euro, we're going to try and figure it out. And I think we've found something decent for us, and I'm very sure it'll change in the future. But for now, I think Euro's pretty fun,
Looking ahead to Zeta Division, they're on a fairy tale run of their own. They're playing insanely well. What do you make of them? What sort of strengths do they have?
I mean, we've been practicing with them as usual. Everyone at APAC plays each other. They started the year like not the best, right? I mean, they had to go through roster changes and they have to find themselves. But I think they picked up like insane players. Two of the players came from Northception and they beat us in LCQ, and those are the best two players, I think, with ShahZaM, of course. We already know they're a really, really good team. We've played against Laz many times in CSGO as well, so we know his quality. And I think their run has been a bit of a fairy tale, right? It's like pretty much lower bracket all the way and they're still here. And they beat like the big dogs, DRX, our bogey team. So we're looking really forward to playing with them. Usually have a lot of fun playing scrims with them, so looking forward to the game.
How are we going to use these few days before the game to get prepared and get yourselves in a good position to take them on?
Oh, for sure. I mean, we're probably going to take a day off. It's been a bit stressful. Aside from that, I think I'll probably spend a lot of time looking at data as usual, as all coaches do. And then maybe we will retool our comms a little bit, or maybe we would like come up with something. Theme will be aggression, of course. This is not going to be anything different. I think everyone knows that by now. Yeah, we'll definitely look at our gameplay, see whether we can iron out any kinks.
How have you been able to use this time in Iceland to build the team and build that morale between you?
Most people in the rest of the world, COVID really screwed us over because we're an international team and we're not from Europe, right? So we can't like inter-travel even though there's COVID. Like borders are totally closed. And our headquarters are in Singapore, so it's a little bit more difficult to get everyone in. Since the start of Valorant, we have not actually had a boot camp and then playing in Berlin together. So every opportunity we have to meet each other is really, really like something we enjoy. They're pretty close in ages. Jason and Jinggg are a little bit younger, but they're like best friends in the game, you know, like husband and wife almost when they play. I mean, if you go watch that Twitch, it's really like just two of them bickering at each other all the time. Then the rest of the boys, I mean, Aaron, well, mindfreak, Davai, and Benkai, myself, we've been in the same team for a long, long time. And like we're best of friends, really, you know what I mean? I've been teammates with them before I became their coach. We really knew each other from a long time. It was easy to bond, you know, like everybody has a bit of a different personality, right? Some are more outgoing, some are a bit more introverted, but I think we have a good mix in between our team and dynamic. I mean, we all like really care for each other. I don't know, I think I've played with Benkai and Davai for like 3-4 years already, maybe longer. So yeah, we know each other pretty well. I think it's just good for us to like mix around and hang out, you know. It's like just, it brings back old memories. It's a lot of fun and like we really look forward to these international events.